Imagine a country suddenly strikes it rich. Massive oil reserves, a huge gas field, or a giant copper deposit. Sounds like pure good news, right? More export revenue, more growth, more jobs. And yet, in real economic history, the opposite has played out over and over again. A nation discovers a treasure, and then a few years later, large parts of its economy are weaker than before. Manufacturing collapses. Farmers go bankrupt. Tech exporters stop being competitive. The country becomes rich on paper, but sick underneath. This paradox has a name. Economists call it Dutch disease. And today, we are going to walk through exactly how it happens, why it happens, and most importantly, how Israel actually applied the lesson when it discovered its own natural gas. Let's break this mystery together. Before we crack the main case, we need one essential tool: the basic mechanics of the foreign exchange market. Don't worry, this is easier than it sounds. The key concept is just one: the exchange rate. Simply put, the exchange rate is the price of our currency. If many people want to buy our currency, its price rises. If many people are selling, its price falls. Exactly like the supply and demand of any ordinary good. Now, in the real world, where does demand for a currency come from? Mostly from exports. When a country sells goods abroad, foreign buyers need to pay in the local currency, so they convert dollars or euros into shekels. That demand pushes the local currency's value up. The reverse is also true. Imports create demand for foreign currency, pushing the local currency down. This simple rule, exports up, currency up, is the key that unlocks the entire Dutch disease story. Remember it well. Now let's follow the dominoes, step by step. Step 1. A country discovers a major natural resource. Let's say a giant gas field. Step 2. The country starts exporting massive amounts of that gas. Step 3. Foreign buyers send in huge amounts of dollars to pay for the exports. Step 4. Those dollars are converted into the local currency. Demand for the local currency explodes, and as a direct result, the local currency appreciates sharply. On paper, this sounds great. Your money is worth more. But here is where the disease begins. Step 5. Because the local currency is now expensive, every other export becomes uncompetitive on world markets. Textile factories, software companies, agricultural exporters, traditional manufacturers, they all face the same problem. Their products, priced in the now stronger local currency, look expensive to foreign buyers. Sales drop. Step 6. Those non-resource industries start losing money. Factories close. Workers lose jobs. Entire sectors that took decades to build begin to wither. And the cruel twist is that this damage was triggered by what looked like good news: a resource discovery. This is not just a textbook theory. It is a real phenomenon, with a specific name, born from a real story in Europe. In the 1960s, the Netherlands discovered a massive natural gas field, the Groningen field. Foreign currency flooded in. The Dutch guilder appreciated sharply. And within a decade, Dutch manufacturing, once the engine of the country, was in serious trouble. Factories became uncompetitive. Jobs were lost. The Economist magazine coined the term Dutch disease in 1977 to describe this paradoxical pattern, and the name stuck. Since then, the same disease has been diagnosed in many countries: Venezuela with oil, Nigeria with petroleum, Russia, and others. Whenever a single resource dominates exports, the same script plays out. And here is what makes Dutch disease especially dangerous. Commodity prices are wildly volatile. When oil prices were at $100 per barrel, Venezuela looked unstoppable. Then after 2014, oil prices crashed to under $30 per barrel. Venezuela's economy collapsed almost overnight. Hyperinflation, mass immigration, complete economic breakdown. That is what happens when a country bets everything on one resource and lets all the diversified industries die. The country has no fallback when the commodity cycle turns against it. So is this trap unavoidable? Is every resource-rich country doomed? Absolutely not. Let's look at a modern case study that shows there really is a cure, and it happens to be Israel's own story. A few decades after the Dutch case, history nearly repeated itself. Israel discovered enormous offshore natural gas fields. Israeli economists immediately recognized the danger. They knew exactly what disease could attack the Israeli economy if they were not careful. So here was the prescription. As gas exports started bringing in dollars, the Bank of Israel did not just sit and watch the shekel appreciate. The central bank actively intervened in the foreign exchange market. It bought up dollars from the gas exports, pulling them out of circulation, the same way a giant sponge absorbs water before the bucket overflows. The point of the operation was to prevent the dollar inflow from pushing the shekel up so far that the rest of the economy would suffer. The result? The shekel stayed relatively stable. Israeli high-tech, manufacturing, and other tradable sectors could still compete and win in global markets. Brilliant policy, born directly from learning the Dutch lesson. There is also a deeper, structural effect economists call the spending effect. The resource boom creates huge revenues, especially when the government collects royalties. The government spends, sometimes wisely, sometimes not. That spending raises wages and prices in non-tradable sectors, services, construction, real estate. But tradable sectors, the ones that have to compete internationally, cannot raise their prices because they are price takers in world markets. So their profit margins get squeezed even harder. Over time, the entire economy reorganizes around the resource and the local services it funds, while the diversified, internationally competitive sectors quietly shrink. That is why active management matters so much. Without it, the long-term structural damage can be permanent. Other countries have used similar strategies with great success. Norway, when it found North Sea oil, did not let the cash flow directly into the local economy. The government created the Government Pension Fund Global, a sovereign wealth fund that invests almost all oil revenue abroad in foreign assets. This keeps the krone from over-appreciating, protects manufacturing exports, and saves wealth for future generations. Today the fund is worth more than $1.5 trillion, and Norway is one of the most balanced economies in the world. Chile with copper, Botswana with diamonds. Both used similar approaches and avoided the curse. The lesson is clear. Discovering natural wealth is not destiny. It is a test of policy. So let's draw the red line through everything we have seen. On one side, we have the problem. Natural resource exports drive the currency up, kill non-resource industries, and leave the country dependent on a single volatile commodity. That is Dutch disease. On the other side, we have the solution. A proactive central bank, a sovereign wealth fund, fiscal discipline, and deliberate diversification can stabilize the currency and protect the broader economic ecosystem. The next time you hear that a country has struck oil or found a giant gas field, do not just think about how rich they will get. Think about whether they have the policy infrastructure to handle the boom. Because without it, that treasure can become a trap. And with it, as Norway and Israel have shown, natural wealth can power a country forward without hollowing it out from within. That is the deep, counterintuitive logic of Dutch disease and the optimistic flip side of the same story.